that territory called the former British Southern Cameroons. 1961. They gave us independence. They gave us sovereignty. Sovereignty gave us entitlement, ladies and gentlemen, over the land, over the territory that is called Ambazonia today. Unfortunately, we are still out here fighting to actualize that independence granted us by the United Nations in 1961. That is why we are in war today, or at war today, with La République du Cameroon, who came in with an annexationist policy, a colonialist policy to swallow the Southern Cameroons. We will thank God for the brave men and women who are out there in Ambazonia, fighting to take back the country, to take back our country. And ladies and gentlemen, we will definitely take back the country. We have no option. We have no option but to take back that which belongs to us. And I think for over 4 years now, we have sent enough message to La République du Cameroon that we're going to negotiate with them for nothing but a free and independent Southern Cameroons. They call us names from the beginning: 2 cubes of sugar, Biafra, insignificant Anglophones. I think by now they must have realized they made a terrible mistake. They made a terrible mistake. But we keep on fighting. Now look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Look at it. Take a look at this.
On va continuer le club comme ça.
Okay, that was today, early this morning, ladies and gentlemen, in the village called Tadum. Yes, Tadum. Tadum is in Boué.
Mais c'est trop. On va continuer le club comme ça.
Again, that was early this morning. We'll learn as early as 4 a.m. 4 a.m. this morning in Boué, in the village called Tadum. French Cameroon terrorist soldiers showed up in the dark of the night to launch an assault on supposedly Ambazonian restoration fighters. You can see them there. Instead of fighting the Ambazonian fighters, they are fed up with the sound of the guns, coming out from Ambazonia fighters. Ladies and gentlemen, so much going on, and we are going to bring you updates today with what is going on ground zero. Today, we're going to be bringing you some information from Mogamo, where the ADF has again attacked and abducted Ambazonia restoration fighters. I'm going to be bringing you, I'm going to be talking to the chairman for Mogamo local government area. We also will be bringing you updates on the situation in Ngor, Ketunjia, with General No Pity and the Ngoketwinja Marines. We're going to know what is happening there. Also, I will be talking about, let me see this here. We'll be talking about the intelligence or security meeting that took place in Yaoundé over the weekend precisely. I think that was Friday. Going to be bringing you some insight into that meeting. But very important, very, very important. I like all of you who are there on ground zero in the counties of Mezam. That is, I would say from Bui, or I would say from Nkwen, like my 6 or my 5, all the way through Bambui, to Bambili, to Ngoketwinja, that is Babanki included, all the way to Bui, to Donga Mantung. Every Ambazonian living within this axis, please. This is a security alert. The Republic of Cameroon is going to heavily invade these particular communities, and we want all of you to be very, very safe out there. The biblical saying goes, they will come like a thief in the night, as you saw today in these videos coming out from Tatum in Bui, ladies and gentlemen. Tatum is in Bui. They showed up early today in Tatum in Bui. They hope that we're going to kill our forces, kill our civilians. Unfortunately for them, our guys actually forced them to retreat. Our boys, the restoration fighters of Ambazonia, they forced these La République du Cameroon Boy Scouts, as Field Marshal calls them, to retreat. So, no news of any casualties yet, but I'm going to be bringing you updates from Ngoketwinja and the whole of that corridor as I bring in my spokesperson for the ARFs in the person of Comrade Langme. He will be bringing those updates to us. Also, we'll be talking about the false COVID tests that we are hearing being administered on the ground. We'll be talking about that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to believe for all of you who are watching by way of Facebook, please go ahead, hit your share button. Let's get this platform completely saturated. Hit your share button. And again, formally, I'd like to welcome all of you from Ambazonia, watching from ground zero. Ambazonia, watching from ground one. Our refugees on ground one. God bless you all for tuning in. You can never get any better you cannot get any better updates about this struggle from anywhere than on ABC. And for those of you Ambazonians especially who are in other locations in the diaspora, in Europe, in Asia, in Canada, in the UK, in South America, and the continental USA, you are welcome tonight. God bless you, and thanks for tuning in. And if you are on Facebook, hit your share button. Before I start bringing in my guests, I will bring you some announcement, some housekeeping, ladies and gentlemen. I will start with the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Ambazonia is drafting. And it is the appeal from this interim government, to every Ambazonian out there. Again, we are drafting again for 2021. It is an obligation for every Ambazonian to draft, to support what we are trying to accomplish in this war. Let me tell you something. We have seen countries, contemporary countries that have obtained their independence. Their people paid for it. I know of Eritrea so well. The people paid for it. In fact, they were tasked on a monthly basis to pay for the Eritrean War of Independence. They fought it for close to 30 years. They succeeded, but they had to pay for it. The Southern Sudanese, I know of their different groups here in the U.S. that were coming together, making payments on a monthly basis to fund the war against Sudan. Their people funded the war. In Somaliland, the diaspora funded the independence of Somaliland from Somalia. Ladies and gentlemen, if we want our country back, nobody is going to pay for it. And this happens at a great cost, at a very, very great cost. So if we truly want our country back, we truly want our independence, we truly want our own homeland, our own country, that which we have called Ambazonia, we have got to pay for it. We have got to pay for it. It came a time when so many of you were standing on the fence. Comrades, this is not the time to stand on the fence. Because I believe most of you can now see that this war is actually on, and that it will take the unavailability of funds for La République to have an urge over us in this war. They will not win us. They can only prolong how long this war is fought, ladies and gentlemen. They cannot beat us. They can only prolong how long the war is fought. Because I think by now they would have realized that the time that they thought we were coming to lay down our arms is over. Right now, we are focused on prosecuting this war, and if need be, we would have to take it into Yaoundé, if need be. Because we see La République du Cameroon doing everything to drag it down, avoid going out, talking negotiation, talking dialogue. Every moment they talk about dialogue, they are talking about dialogue in their own damn country, in Yaoundé. No, we're not going to be a party to any dialogue in Yaoundé or anywhere in that country. Not even in Ambazonia, ladies and gentlemen. Any form of dialogue or negotiation will take place in a neutral place where security is highly guaranteed, and where we can secure, of course, independent mediators from La République du Cameroon. I mean, not people who have anything to do with La République du Cameroon. So, as La République du Cameroon continue to drag on and on this war, it is incumbent upon us to fund the war, because where we are, we are never looking back. Where we are not looking back. The only thing we've got to do is to fund the war. And let me say something to you, because I know that from the beginning of this war, so many people were like, they thought 2 years, they thought 3 years, they thought 4 years, but they actually thought by now, it would have been over. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. The next 4 years, it may not be over. I'm not trying to discourage you, not at all. But we have to be realistic and prepare our minds to know that this thing could still go on for the next 2 years. It could still go on for the next 10 years. It may just go on for the next 6 months, but we got to be prepared, psychologically, mentally prepared. Because what La République du Cameroon is trying to do is play on our mentality, to play on our intelligence, to get us fatigued, to say, oh no, this thing can't go on for any longer. Absolutely not. We are in to the last day. Again, we are into it till the last day. So please, I come to you on behalf of the interim government. Whatever county or LGA you belong to, please locate your county, locate your LGA, pay your draft, so that our fighters can go out there and defend us. If you live in the diaspora, that is all you can do. You're not going to go to ground zero to fight. You can only support them by giving them your money, and you can never give enough. Yes, because when you consider what those boys in the front lines are going through, I look at some of their photographs, and I remember I look at many of their photographs because I come across, they send me those things all the time. I look at some of them, the level at which some of them have paled up. Ladies and gentlemen, I pity them who are there in the front lines. They have no rest. They are filled with stress. They are running from location to location every given week just to avoid an ambush, to avoid an attack. These people, these fighters have offered all. They have given their all for this struggle. And the only thing we can do to show them our appreciation, our love, our support is to draft, so that the counties can put better weapons, enough weapons into their hands. So whatever county you come from, whatever LGA you belong to, please, again, the schedule for the county by county draft will be coming out really soon. I believe by the end of this week, I guess that calendar may be out. But listen, you don't have to wait for that calendar to draft. The draft is on. Locate your local administrators, locate your chairmen and women and local government administrators, and begin to pay and redeem your draft. This is very, very important if we would have to push this war further to further humiliate La République du Cameroon. So please support the war. Pay your draft, please. All right. Now, having talked about that, I want to send another security warning to everybody. Now, this one concerns all of Ambazonia. We have received credible information that people going to the hospitals in Bamenda, and this may be happening in other parts of Ambazonia, we don't know yet, but people going to hospitals in Bamenda are being forced to take COVID-19 vaccine. We are not sure whether it's even the vaccine, but we have witnessed testimony from people who have been there with patients, and the vaccines, so-called, were being forced on them. We want to reiterate this. We have said in the past, the interim government is not endorsing whatever vaccines that La République du Cameroon want you on ground zero to take. Because number one, we don't trust what the Chinese are doing. Number two, the Chinese will never send the right product to Cameroon, especially when it is a free product, ladies and gentlemen. So please, do not allow any vaccine to be forced on you at any hospital visitation. Refuse to take it. There is nothing they will do to you. Only in that damn country will they try to force a vaccine on somebody. All over the globe, vaccines are not being forced upon any person anywhere. La République du Cameroon should not force a vaccine on anybody there on ground zero. And you should refuse to take it because you may be taking poison, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from China. Compliment of La République du Cameroon. So please listen to the sound of my voice. If you are there on ground zero and they are forcing any vaccines on you at any hospital visitation, refuse to take it. Refuse to take it. That is very, very important. Now, you have to keep on, however, wearing your mask. The mask, the face mask, they remain very, very a critical component of preventing COVID-19 from getting to you. Also, continue to maintain your distances. Avoid parties. Avoid crowds, but also avoid any vaccine coming from La République du Cameroon. Very, very, very important there. All right. Okay. Also, ladies and gentlemen, let me take you to this other update here. Before I get there, let me just remind those we have received quite a number of complaints from ground zero of people not being able to receive ABC. Some people are able to receive it. They find the video, but no audio. Some people receive it just fine, everything just fine. So please, this is how you receive ABC if you are on the ground. Some of you, well, I mean all of you, all you need to do. I was speaking to a technician from ground zero this afternoon, and he said all that you need to do is blind scan your decoder. Blind scan your decoder. Once you blind scan your decoder, just flip through the channels again, because when you scan or blind scan your decoder, the channels that were not yet populated on your decoder or in your decoder will show up. So all you need to do, blind scan your decoder, and ABC will show up on your television. That's all you need to do. If you are receiving CRTV on satellite and all these other Equinox, Canal, and so on, you will find ABC right there. You will find ABC right there. So again, blind scan your decoder, and once you finish doing that, flip through the channels and you will see ABC Amber TV. ABC Amber TV. But if you cannot, please look for a technician to assist you. Do that. Now, this is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. I came here on Friday and made an announcement concerning some decisions taken out in Lebialem County. Lebialem County. Now, let me say that message is still out there online. The audio of that announcement is also circulating out there. However, in spite of the simplicity of that announcement, there are people out there who have decided to give that message their own meaning. Now, if you listen to that message, you don't even need to listen to it attentively, as some people will say. It was very, very clearly stated. Nobody has asked for schools to reopen in Lebialem. Again, nobody, not in that announcement. Schools were not asked to reopen in Lebialem. And neither were people asked to return to Lebialem. Again, the audio is out there with you. The video is there online. The message was clear and simple. La Republic has pulled out close to 700,000 teachers from the BLM. In fact, I have the list of that statement. Now, having pulled out their teachers, the BLM says, okay, we have taken back our schools. In the months ahead, we are working, planning to change the names and put our own curriculum. Nowhere is there an invitation for anybody to return to school. So please, let's get this very clearly and correct those who are twisting the facts out there. The BLM also said to prevent more homes from collapsing, anybody who feels like going back to go and clean around their homes, if you can do it, if the security is there to do it, go and do it and return to wherever you are hiding. Nobody has been given permission to go and stay permanently, ladies and gentlemen, in the BLM. I'm trying to have us get this message very, very clearly so that we can educate others from detractors who are trying to put a different message out there. This is very, very important. Again, schools have not been asked to resume in the BLM, and nobody has been asked to return there on a permanent basis. You are asked if it is possible. You have to judge it from your own viewpoint. If you see the security, you are at liberty to go clean round your compound and just to prevent it from collapsing, because many homes, unfortunately, in the main towns in the BLM have collapsed. So please, if you are out there and you have access to your home, go and clean it, maybe to prevent it from collapsing like others. That is the message. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, let me bring in my first guest for today. I'd like to bring in Comrade Valentine Ghana, who is joining me because of a recent attack again from the ADF. The ADF recently launched an attack, ladies and gentlemen, on the restoration fighters. The restoration fighters in Mogamo. And I invited Comrade Valentine to come and tell us what exactly is going on there. Comrade, it's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor. Greetings to you. And I salute all our restoration fighters who are doing a great job out there defending our motherland and sowing the seeds to ensure that the emancipation of Ambazonia will become 100% complete, to ensure that our sovereignty that was stolen from us in 1961 is going to be delivered. So I salute all of our fighters. We owe them a huge debt of gratitude. And as the chairman of the Mogamo LGA, I know how I know the difficult circumstances that our restoration fighters exist in to ensure that they provide that necessary defense to Ambazonia. So I greet all the commanders, I greet all the captains, I greet all the fighters in Mogamo as well as across Ambazonia. And I want to just let them know that they are God sent to deliver the independence of Ambazonia, and that shall come to pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, tell me about this recent attack of the ADF on the Ambazonia restoration fighters in Mogamo precisely.
Comrade, it was last Tuesday, and ADF sent its fighters, or I don't know if I'll call them fighters, because ADF is not doing any fighting in Ambazonia. We've heard fighting all across. We've heard restoration forces mounting attacks against the evil forces of La Republique. We've seen videos and seen action from SOCADEF, from the Ambazonian Restoration forces out there. All what we keep hearing, all what we keep seeing is the ADF consistently, repeatedly, intentionally, willingly, premeditatively attacking Ambazonian restoration forces, attacking civilians. It happened last Tuesday in the village of Basi, which is one of the 22 villages that form Mogamo. ADF sent its fighters, being led by the notorious Efang, they call him Big Number, who is an adherent of Cho Ayaba. These are people acting on the instructions of Cho Ayaba. These are persons acting with Cho Ayaba as the principal. These are people committing war crimes on other Ambazonia under the direction of Cho Ayaba. They came and abducted 4 fighters of the restoration forces within one of our camps in Basi and within one of the 9 camps we have in Mogamo, and they are holding them hostage. And they are trying to bait, since last Tuesday, yes. And they are trying to bait our captains to come have a meeting with them. Knowing what happened when Efang went to Biwi, and with all of those electronic devices, probably and most likely working in conjunction with La Republique, and that ended up with the death of General Chacha. To me, this is another bait to our forces, to our captains, to draw them out, to come out and be killed by La Republique. Because in addition to this incident in Basi, where ADF went and captured some of our fighters, about 2 weeks prior to that, La Republique launched an attack towards Tiben, another village in Mogamo, and that attack was flanked by ADF. In fact, ADF came and baited our fighters, and when our fighters came out in response, La Republique was right there around the corner to pop up and attack our fighters, and that led to the death of 1 restoration fighter in Tibet. This is in addition to other murderous attacks that ADF has carried in Mogamo. Not too long ago, they carried another attack in Guzan, again under the command of Cho Ayaba. Cho Ayaba likes to go out there and speak so heroically, and speak so pretentiously, and speak so pretentiously bravely about his willingness to fight and to deliver Ambazonia. But what is Cho Ayaba doing? Guys who are directly under his command are only focusing on attacking Ambazonian fighters, on attacking Ambazonian civilians. This is wrong. This is totally wrong. And I call on Cho Ayaba to talk to his attack dog, Efang, who is in the areas of Krugwe, in Iwai, and Besom, around Mogamo, to talk to them to release these 4 fighters. 4 guys, 4 brave guys who have dedicated their lives to helping restore our homeland. Instead, Cho Ayaba and his adherents are going around harassing them, baiting them. We in Mogamo do not believe in killing ADF fighters because those are Ambazonians. Efang himself, not too long ago, led a group of guys to go attack Commando in Numben, and they were arrested and captured by Commando and his guys. But because Commando did not want to shed the blood of Ambazonians, he let them go. And so you see what Cho Ayaba is doing.
Now, have you been able to establish contact with the abductors to find out why they are keeping them and what they want?
Yes, we have been able to establish contact with them, and they are talking through some of our restoration fighters. Yes, we have been able to establish contact with them. And what Efang is saying is that he just wants to talk, that he just wants to make peace. Well, we know what happened when he went to Biwi, supposedly in a peaceful manner. General Chacha ended up getting killed. We know what happened when he went to Bali with Grandpa and all of those communication devices and guns with devices in them. Had we not warned Grandpa to jettison his phones, had we not warned Grandpa that everybody around him who had a communication device, a cell phone, should jettison those cell phones, it is very likely that Grandpa in Bali would have gotten killed. Because by being around his vicinity, those devices get to sense through broadcast signals and get the serial number of every other device around that vicinity. And then La République and France can then track the location of those fighters as they did General Chacha and corner them in a surprise attack and kill them. And so any contact between ADF and our fighters, any area within Ambazonia where ADF puts out any message that they want to go make peace with our fighters, with our commanders, with our generals, should be treated with the utmost suspicion. Because ADF, every time it goes and interacts with fighters, fighters end up getting killed. And so we see this attempt in Mogamo to capture those 4 fighters and bait our captains to come meet with them as an attempt to work with La République to kill those guys.
Now, why they are holding these fighters hostage? Are they allowing communication between Mogamo LGA administrators and the fighters?
No, they are not. They are just speaking to these fighters and they are telling them not to communicate with the diaspora. They want to keep it local between them. Secretary Chris, look, let me tell you something. This is just a bait. I have listened, I've followed up all the interactions, I have studied this whole affair. They want to draw out our fighters, eliminate our fighters in Mogamo, and weaken our defense forces in Mogamo. That is why we've told our fighters, under no condition should the captains go meet with the ADF guys. Because you do not make peace by going and seizing soldiers and hold soldiers who did not provoke you, soldiers who have never attacked you, soldiers who are focused on La République, focused on La République military, focused on tactics that will get La République out of our territory. You go attack them.
Yeah, go on, please finish your
Go
talk.
ahead. I say you go attack them, you're holding them hostage, and then you're baiting other commanders to come meet with you. What kind of crap is Cho Ayaba doing in Ambazonia under the guise of being head of AGOC? Even we in the diaspora here, you know we are trying to get Cho Ayaba into act so that we can work together. He cannot. AGOC does not want to. The so-called ADF do not want to. But every time they go underneath and collaborate with our captains, with our generals, they end up getting killed.
Now, this ADF Mogamo attacks continue to be a recurrent issue. Again and again, we remember the killing of General Biabia and the others. I think about 5 or 6 of them. We all remember that gory incident there carried out by the ADF. And we remember the attack on the chiefs. We remember in Kurugwe and so on. They continue to do this. And I know that even at the level of the interim government, we have come in to say this must stop. But it appears that Mogamo, their own ARF, have just not done enough to get this stopped.
No, it's Comrade Chris, it's not that we haven't done anything. There are things being done, and I would not publicize them right now. There are certain things you have to keep them very classified. But is that our restoration forces, we have taken the approach that the Ambazonian restoration forces should not harm other Ambazonians, be they civilians or other forces. And so we've always considered that should we take an action and that action result to the loss of other Ambazonian lives, it is still a tragedy that should not have occurred. But that is something that that is an approach that might be changing. I'm not going to provide any details, but that is an approach that might be changing. I'm going to leave it at that. Remember, I just told you that Commando did capture Efang, but let Efang go, because we do not advise the spilling of blood of other Ambazonians. But here as I'm talking to you, that is Cho Ayaba on the screen. He should know, as a principal, he should be in the position to know that somebody he appointed when Tiger died, even before Tiger was buried, even before Tiger was mourned, Tiger was supposed to be a general of his. But when Tiger died, immediately when Tiger died, he appointed Efang. And so he is in a place to know and should know that that is what the forces under his direction are doing. Harassing other Ambazonians, killing civilians in there, baiting and capturing restoration forces who are sacrificing their all to defend our homeland. So we hold Cho Ayaba responsible, and we plead to all Mogamos who are listening. We plead with them to cease and desist giving any support to the ADF, because ADF is now working towards the liberation of Ambazonia. We see Tokadev. Tokadev is not a force under the restoration under the interim government, but Tokadev is working to liberate Ambazonia. We see attacks that Tokadev is carrying against the enemy, La Republic. We don't see that from the ADF. Instead, we know of incidents when restoration forces have carried out an attack. ADF is out there always pompous to receive credit for it, lying all the time. So this in Mogamo is coming to an end, and we call on all Mogamons not to give any support to the ADF in Mogamo. We call on all the chiefs in those areas, in Ashong, in Krugwe, in Iwai, in Besom, in all of those areas. We call on them not to give any support to the ADF, not to give aid and comfort to the ADF, because the ADF is not fighting for the liberation of Ambazonia.
Now, that is an interesting point, because we note that not too long ago, somewhere in one of those towns in Bui, the people of the community came out in droves and sent the ADF packing out of their communities. I've forgotten what town that was. They came out in droves and drove the ADF out of their community. Now we see the ADF going into Kurugwe, Guruzang, and all these places and causing, raining down havoc on the people. Shouldn't the people of Mogamo as a whole be taking this same action, going after them and telling them, if you arrest our sons, arrest our children, our brothers, kill our families, you have no place for you in the local government? Shouldn't they be sending out this message to them? I mean, those on the ground.
Secretary Chris, that is already happening. I think there was a rise up a few months ago in one of the towns, I think it was Krugwe or so, against the ADF. People rose up and drove the ADF out. But that is going to happen more. As I speak, there are things happening. There's planning going on. There are strategic moves being taken. We're not going to announce them here because those moves are very classified. But the Mogamo people are knowing the true colors of the ADF, knowing the havoc that the ADF has created in Mogamo. They are willing and they are ready to stand up and face the ADF and kick them out. I mean, we know that with the advent of any liberation struggle, the enemy always comes out and creates a proxy on the ground. We saw it in South Africa when the apartheid regime came and used Buthelezzi's forces to be attacking other genuine liberation forces, to be attacking the ANC. The same thing seems to be happening happening with La Republique forces using the ADF to attack Ambazonians, to attack Ambazonian liberation forces. That will come to an end very soon.
You know, I have always said that Cho Ayaba and his so-called fighters, they constitute the chief Buthelezi of South Africa in this our struggle, because why we are fighting La Republique, just as Chief Buthelezi did, claiming to be fighting against the white minority. They were actually taking money from them and then fighting the ANC. That is exactly what Cho Ayaba and his gang are doing, fighting Ambazonia. I mean, it is pathetic, really, really pathetic that day in, day out, these complaints of the ADF attacking legitimate Ambazonian restoration fighters out there, it gets to them, and they are never ashamed. You never hear, you don't get up in the morning to hear, oh, the ADF attacked La Republique forces in Motengene. Oh, the ADF attacked La Republique forces in Bafut. You never hear that. What is wrong with these guys?
But Comrade Chris, it's interesting you say that, and let me draw a parallel here with you. In the struggle for the liberation of Africa, there are some figures that stand on one side, and there are some other figures that stand on the other. I'm going to name figures on one side that Cho Ayaba falls exactly amongst those. You have people like Buthelezi, you have people like Savimbi, who betrayed Angola and took aid from the apartheid regime to fight against the genuine forces and the genuine leadership in Angola. On that same side, you have somebody like Mobutu Sese Seko, who worked with the CIA and who worked with South Africa to destabilize Zaire, to rape Zaire of its resources. Cho Ayaba falls right in there. Another character that I want to give you is the character in the person of Blaise Compaoré, who killed Sankara, who worked with France, an imperialist, to slaughter Sankara. You see, all of these people I've named: Blaise Compaoré, Mobutu Sese Seko, Jonas Savimbi, Chief Buthelezi, and his Inkatha are all people who are allied them, and Cho Ayaba. These are all people who ally themselves with regressive forces to attack Africans and hold Africa down. So every time Cho Ayaba comes on TV to speak, when you see his face, think of Blaise Compaoré. When you see his face, think of Mobutu. When you see his face, think of Jonas Savimbi. When you see his face, think of Buthelezi in South Africa. These are all regressive forces that either existed or now exist on the African continent.
Thank you, comrade. Let's hope that this time, Mogamo stands up to this bully tactic of the ADF, and we just hope that none of those 4 fighters will return in a body bag, because that will be too bad, and we hope that Cho Ayaba is hearing us. If he is indeed fighting alongside with us against La Republique du Cameroon, we'll ask him to get those 4 Ambazonia fighters released. All right, let's get to another subject, comrade. A lot has been going on militarily, politically in the last 2 weeks of this struggle. Last week, precisely Friday, Yaoundé held a meeting, and after the attacks in Ngo-Ketinjia, they held a meeting in Yaoundé, and they said, well, this happened because we were infiltrated. Their ranks were infiltrated. In other words, they are saying they have a mole. They have a mole within them who is now feeding Ambazonian fighters with intelligence. Is that really what they meant to say? Do you see that as any infiltration?
La Republique should by now know that Ambazonians are Ambazonians. I don't care if those Ambazonians are in Yaoundé, are in Chico, are in France, they are Ambazonians. And so it is not news that no human being will accept a credible lie against himself and his interest. Let me repeat that. No human being will accept a lie against himself and his interest. The lie of La Republique thinking that we are one and indivisible, and seizing or thieving our independence, and thinking that Ambazonians are going to accept that lie, they are fooling themselves. Even the ministers that La Republique has in its own government, who are Ambazonians, if they put them in a room with a blind ballot to vote for either even confederation or federation or whatever with La Republique or independence, if it's a blind ballot, they will vote for independence because they know that our association with La Republique is a lie. So La Republique might be saying there's a mole within the fighters that led to this attack. Hear me now and hear me very careful, Comrade Chris. When La Republique came and started attacking our people in 2016 and 2017, when helicopter gunships sent from La Republique were mowing our people down in Bamenda, there's one thing I said. I said, wooden men with iron weapons are attacking iron men with wooden weapons. Let me repeat that one more time. I said, wooden men with iron weapons were attacking iron men with wooden weapons. Sooner or later, those iron men were going to get iron weapons, and those wooden men with all of those weapons are going to have a task on their hands. We are seeing the unfolding of that statement. La Republique took us for granted. When they started attacking our people in 2016 and 2017, no Ambazonian had a gun to fight back. In fact, our people, as you remember, during the incident at Commercial Avenue, our people were fighting back with rocks. Now we have sophisticated weapons to fight back. Now we are increasingly updating our capacity, and our freedom is going to be gained by guns blazing across Ambazonia. I call on all Ambazonians fighting in La Republique military to defect and join the Ambazonian fighters. I call on all Ambazonians to assist their brethren who are fighting within the La Republique military, to assist them financially. Either they defect and join our guys, or they defect and go to a foreign country like Nigeria where they can be safe. Because Ambazonia is not going to be a safe place for any La Republique fighter. We remember what happened to the Americans in Vietnam. They went there thinking that they were going to gain victory. Victory never came their way. Same thing with the Russians in Afghanistan. They stayed in Afghanistan for 10 years from 1979, and they harvested defeat from Afghanistan. France has not learned its lesson, because this war is being schemed and perpetrated and supported and aided and defended in the international community by France. All of those La Republique troops who were killed, whose blood was shed in Bui, should look to France to blame. All of those La Republique troops who are meeting IED devices in Ambazonia, who are being blown up in military trucks, should blame France, because France is the principal. France went into Russia just like it is getting La Republique into Ambazonia, and the Russians retreated, and guerrilla fighters defeated France. They had their Waterloo in Russia. This same nonsense that France is doing in Ambazonia, France did it in Algeria. France did it in Europe under the guise of the continental system, when they tried to own all trade in Europe, between Europe and Britain, and between Europe and other countries, and they failed. France has not learned its lesson. So all the people who are dying, all the La Republique troops who are dying, should look to France to blame, because this failed strategy is being run from the French embassy in Yaoundé, and it shall fail in Ambazonia.
Yes, it will fail indeed. But tell me, comrade, with recent developments, what do you think is going on in the minds of La Republique du Cameroon politicians and military officers? I mean, you heard the lamentation of General Valerie Inca, essentially saying, we are losing, please help us, help us. Do you think Yaoundé is getting the message that this thing isn't going as planned? Do you think they're beginning to get the message?
Of course, Yaoundé gets the message. But the problem is that the decision is not in the hands of Valerenka. The decision is not in the hands of General Elo Kobi. The decision is not in the hands of any of those cowardly generals. The decision is in the French embassy in Yaoundé. Those generals, they have their hands tied. I call them Manjunga generals because all they know is how to drink Manjunga and send little boys to go die on the battlefield. How come they cannot think in the light of somebody like Jerry Rawlings, who seized power, set Ghana on a course to correction, and today Africans in the diaspora are returning to Ghana because of what somebody such as Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings did. How can they think in line with the mind of somebody like Thomas Sankara, who seized power and set Burkina Faso on a right path, and today Burkina Base can hold their shoulders high because of something that a son of Burkina Faso, who was proud, did. These generals are all Manjunga generals, and the decision is not in their hand. The decision of when this war ends is in the hands of the French embassy, because France thinks it can rewrite. Listen to me very clearly, Chris. France thinks it can rewrite the Treaty of Versailles from where Ambazonia got its independence. Again, during the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, the League of Nations separated Cameroon into two Class B territories. Ambazonia, or Southern Cameroon, was never part of France. France is trying to use force to rewrite an international treaty where the United States, Russia, Germany, Britain were all partners in that treaty. So, yes, the generals can lament. Yes, the generals know this war is not going according to how they planned. But France has this perverted mindset on how it wants to structure the Central Africa, the CEMAC region, and it wants to force Ambazonia as part of CEMAC, and it is thinking that it can use the proxy army of La République to defeat Ambazonia, claim legal title to Ambazonia, and weave Ambazonia into CEMAC as part of CEMAC. That is why the Americans have told France there shall be no military victory in Ambazonia, because they know that Ambazonia does not belong to France. Example, when there were problems in Ivory Coast, French troops could go there. When there were problems in Central Africa, French troops could go there. We see problems in Mali, French troops can go there. How come French troops cannot come into Ambazonia? Because Ambazonia is not part of France, never was, is not now, and never shall it be. So France needs to get their head straight, they need to get their head right, and pull out of Ambazonia and accept the defeat that they are currently harvesting in Ambazonia.
Now, comrade, when they say that they are infiltrated, that their ranks are infiltrated, doesn't that smell danger for Ambazonian soldiers within their ranks? Because if they say that they are infiltrated, guess who they are pointing at? They are pointing to Ambazonian forces within their ranks. I see danger ahead for all Ambazonian soldiers fighting for La République du Cameroun. What do you think?
Very true, very true. They are pointing the finger at Ambazonian fighters. And what we have always done, we have always advised Ambazonian fighters that La République is using them. And La République will dispose of them whenever it found it necessary. I'm going to tell you something, Comrade Chris. When I graduated from CAS Bambili, my goal was to go to the University of Yaoundé, study law, and join La République Army. My goal was never to join La République Army to become part of La République. My goal was to get the necessary training. This was way back in 1989. And some of us already saw this war coming. And we're going to join La République Army so that we could one day become the leaders of the army in Ambazonia fighting for our independence. Because we already saw that this union was a lie, and that lie was going to unravel. So what we are seeing now is La République suspecting people who were never part of La Republique and never going to be part of La Republique, and saying that they have infiltrators within the army is just confirming the fact that Ambazonians are not and will never be part of La Republique. Breaking news to La Republique. Your ministers you have in government, you can also call them infiltrators, because if you cut their hand, they will bleed Ambazonia. Your diplomats you have abroad are Ambazonians, because if you cut their hand, they will bleed Ambazonia. So La Republique should just quickly come to the reality that Ambazonia is not part of its territory. The United Nations has already told them that when they came to La Republique's 50th anniversary, when Ali Tikri from the UN brought two maps to bear in Etude, one map of La Republique and the other map of the South in Cameroon. So they have gotten that message from all corners into all the ears they have, but they are just refusing to accept it. They do not have infiltrators in their military. It is just a reality that Ambazonians are not and will never be part of La Republique.
Well, I listened to a message that the Field Marshal put out in a congratulatory audio to General No PT, in which he said he commented on the fact that La Republique says that their ranks are infiltrated, and Field Marshal said, "No, your ranks are not infiltrated. Your problem is that you are sending Boy Scouts to come and fight us. Our generals, General Field Marshal is right, and General No PT is out there waging the war by himself. He himself is out there waging the war by himself. But you, La Republique, you send your Boy Scouts to come and fight us. You are not infiltrated."
Correct. And that is just, that is confirming the belief that La Republique does not even believe that they can win this war. The French embassy is bidding time for the diaper-wearing president in Etude to pass away so that they can find a way to maneuver another coward, another estate manager to become part of Cameroon. That is why I say this problem is coming from the French embassy. And the Americans should not be, excuse my language, delay tacting with the French embassy and giving them time to sort this out. They should use Article 51 of the UN Charter to intervene in Cameroon and stop this carnage, to stop France from trying to buck the international system by seizing a territory that does not belong to it. The generals in La Republique know that Ambazonia is not part of La Republique. They know that this will end up on the negotiation table and Ambazonia will walk away. That is why they themselves, the generals and the colonels, they are staying as far away from the battlefield. And like as you rightly said, and as Field Marshal rightly said, they are sending Boy Scouts to come sacrifice their lives for a cause which they do not believe in.
Now, you and I, we are out there in Ac and following up La Republique du Cameroon's willingness to engage with the Swiss initiative. Instead of getting engaged, we are hearing of a second La Republique du Cameroon grand national dialogue. Do you think that they are now, one thing we hear a lot is about this federation. Somebody has said to me the only reason they are not officially from within their ranks talking about federation is because they hope that if and when they agree to sit on the negotiation table, federation would be their last card. Do you think that meeting in Yaoundé in another so-called grand national dialogue, this could be the anchor of that thing? The anchor, the reason for that, for such a dialogue?
I do not believe that, and I absolutely do not believe that, because nothing will come from La Republique independent of its own initiative to fix this problem. Let me repeat that. Nothing will come from La Republique independent of its own initiative to fix this. Look, you have to look at the historical span of this for 60 years. The United Nations in Resolution 1608 prescribed a meeting of French Cameroon, the government of the Southern Cameroons, and the Guardian, which was Great Britain, to meet and solve this issue. They did it. That failed. They forged a union that had no roots. Fast forward, 1968, they tried to overthrow the government of the Southern Cameroon. They actually overthrew the government of Ngomba Bejua, a duly elected government, thinking that that was going to solve the problem and hem us in. Again, on the advice of France. It didn't work. What next did they do? 1972. They had a fake referendum trying to change from their fake Federal Republic of Cameroon to a fake United Republic of Cameroon. What happened? It did not work. Fast forward, 1984, they are changing the name of the fake United Republic of Cameroon to Republic of Cameroon. That did not work. Fast forward, 1996, a fake constitution that came out of the conference that they were holding with the SDF. That did not work. Grand National Dialogue did not work. Special status did not work. I mean, over a span of 60 years, they have tried and tried things that did not work and are not going to work. And as you can see, the truck that is going to be blown up. This is what is going to deliver the independence of Amazonia. That is what is going to deliver the independence of Amazonia. We must multiply those devices, increase the strength of our army, increase the automatic and semi-automatic weapons on the ground, begin now to acquire long and short-range missile launchers, and that will change the game on the ground. So that second Grand National Dialogue that is being talked about is dead on arrival, just like that truck was dead on arrival on that spot. It didn't work then, it shall not work in Amazonia. We will regain our sovereignty and re-establish our independence.
All right. Now, what do you make? Lots of people have made a lot of things of all the deaths taking place over there in La Republique very recently. Mukete is gone. Emilia Wuli Foka is gone. I mean, they are dying like birds nowadays. And people are wondering, what is keeping Biya from going too? What do you make of all those deaths?
These are
And of course, that is in addition to all the deaths of their soldiers that we are now forcing them to bury in their territory.
These are all people who have made a pact with the devil and who have made a pact with the wrong side of history. Look, Nelson Mandela said something. He said, nothing can be permanently gained by holding back a fact. Let me repeat that from Nelson Mandela. Nothing can be permanently gained by holding back a fact. These people, I mean, look at these soldiers. Look at soldiers who are being blown to pieces. Nothing is being gained by La Republique. When I look at these four people dying, from Mukete, the guy who was general manager of CRTV,
Mendoza.
Yes, all of these guys, they thought they were going to subdue Amazonia in their time, but they will pass away, and a new Amazonia will re-emerge from their decomposing selves, because nothing will change the historical rights of Amazonia and its claim to sovereignty based on its independence enshrined in UN Resolution 1514 XV and UN Resolution 1608. So France has just enabled these cowardly generals, who are also going to start passing away soon, to prosecute a war which they know they cannot win. So we are seeing that generation of Biya passing away. the ticking clock on Biya himself is ticking very fast. Biya can cheat death, he cannot cheat nature. Death is going to be knocking on his door very fast. And if they want to make Frank Biya the president of La Republique, that is their business. When Ambazonia regains its sovereignty, we will have a duly elected president consistent with the rules of democracy. Don't forget, Ambazonia was the first country in Africa to have had democracy and to have had elections that transisted power from one governing leadership or one governing party to another. So Ambazonia will return to its history, and the death of all of these old, dysfunctional, cowardly men is only going to germinate and fertile the soil for Ambazonia to rise again like the phoenix.
Now, comrade, one thing that remains quite astonishing is the fact that citizens of La République du Cameroon, especially the wives of their fallen soldiers that we find on the screen, you don't see their wives, their children, their families protesting the killing of these children. Is it that it is being hidden from them, or they are just adamant, or they are afraid that if they protest, they may be killed? What do you think is going on? Because, we all live here in the USA. When war is going, you saw Afghanistan, you saw Iraq, how people protested here of what was going on there when body bags began to come home. But there in La République du Cameroon, you don't see the people saying, where are our children? Where is my husband? Where is my son? You don't see it. The only thing we are seeing are these body bags. What do you think is going on there? Is it intimidation or what?
Comrade Chris, let me tell you something. If you leave your own house to go hold your neighbor down, guess what? You cannot grow in your own house, because your efforts are concentrated towards holding your neighbor's house down. La République has left its own house on the instructions of France to come hold its neighbor, Ambazonia, down. In its attempt to hold Ambazonia down, La République is getting rotten. And when you see a nation where people cannot even protest, where people are so cowardly that their own sons who have been killed on the battlefield are being stage managed so that their wives and their children cannot even express outrage, you know that it is a nation that is rotting at its core. So La République is a police state. All of those coffins being lined, and I believe the death at dozens and dozens of times more than what is being demonstrated. But those coffins being lined, you don't see the wives, you don't see the children. That is just to tell you that the body politic of La République has gotten rotted to such a stench that even the basic ability for people who lost their fathers and their mothers they are not even given the privilege to express that outrage. And what is coming to La République, Chris, is far worse than what is happening in Ambazonia. They need to let Ambazonians go, because what is coming to them, if a tree gets rotting from its core, that tree is going to collapse. And don't be beside that tree when it collapses. So what you're seeing, all of this fake manuscript that is being directed from the French embassy, worse is still going to come to the Republic. And I, as an African, I don't wish them ill. I, as an African, when I see France directing young boys to go, directing young Africans to be killed on the battlefield, it breaks my heart. But Ambazonia has no choice but to defend itself. And as they keep sending more and more of those boys to come burn our villages, to come rape our women, to come kill our boys, to come pillage our resources, they are going to meet this same fate on the battlefield. So I advise French Cameroon troops themselves to desist and quit from that army. I advise Ambazonians who are serving in that army to leave that army. I advise Ambazonians who have their relatives in that army to look for means of their families to desert that army and get to a place of safety. Because Ambazonians' freedom is going to be delivered. And if that comes at the cost of body bags that will be returning to La République, it's our international right to self-defense, and so be it.
All right, comrade. That was excellent. Let us fold our hands, continue to watch, continue to empower those, our restoration forces.
And Secretary Chris, just one more thing.
All right.
Please, I call on every Ambazonian who is listening. Draft. The sacrifice that is being made by our boys on the ground is so heroic. They are putting their lives on the line every day. They started by putting their lives on the line when we did not have good weapons. Thank God we've had some resources and we are upgrading the weapons that they have. These boys need to get fed. These boys need medical treatment. Some of these boys have children. They need to send their kids to school. We need to fund them, not just for the weapons we need to provide to them, but we need to fund them so that they can sustain their kids who might be going to school, so that they can help their families, so that if they get injured, they might get medical treatment, so that they can get good nutrition, so that they can strategize better and fight against the enemy. We in the diaspora are the biggest support that they have. Thank God some in the diaspora have been doing their lot, including me, to support our forces on the ground as much as possible. When I draft, I want to draft so high that it pains my pocket, because what these boys are doing on the ground, sleeping in the bushes, waiting for better weapons to fight with, we need to do everything in our power to sacrifice resources so that they can get good tools. This is only going to happen through the draft. If we draft, and give them the resources that they need. So I call on especially every Mogamon out there who is listening. Don't find any excuse not to draft. Those who drafted and do not have their draft certificates for last season, some have had them, the others are on the way. But don't have any excuse not to draft. One great thing that you guys need to know, and hear this very attentively, the interim government has excellent methods of checks and controls where all your funds drafted are being accounted for each step of the way. The methods of accountability have improved tremendously. And I, as a lawyer and an accountant who understands systems of checks and balances, can attest to that. So don't have any excuse why you don't draft. Draft until it hurts your pocket, so that we can deliver this message to La République and to France that Ambazonia never belonged to them, does not belong to them now, and shall never belong to them. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the message, and I want to believe that every Ambazonian gets that message, even on ground zero, ladies and gentlemen, because we know there are some of you on ground zero who can chip in 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. You can do it. You don't know how to do it, reach out to some of us at the interim government, and we will help assist you. Especially also, you have your counties out there, your LGAs out there. Find out the leadership of your LGAs, the counties, and they will help you on how to donate, especially when those funds are remaining on ground zero. So if you're on ground zero, please, you can draft, and we are able to maintain the secrecy of your information. Comrade, again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the time, and we shall win.
Thank you for coming in. You have a great day, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it about the attacks in Mogamo by the ADF and our analysis on the state of affairs in La République du Cameroon as they cry infiltration. They are not infiltrated. They are just not able to get the 2 cubes of sugar to dissolve. Now let me take you to Ngo Ketunjia. where a lot has been taking place since last week. I have with me on the line the spokesperson for the Ambazonia Restoration Forces, Comrade Lagmi, who is also the spokesperson for Ingo Ketunjia County security team. Comrade, it's a pleasure to have you back here, sir.
Thank you very much, Secretary Chris.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Secretary Chris. Can you hear me?
All right, I can hear you. So, tell us, a lot has gone on since last Friday. Was it Friday? The attacks by the Ngo Ketunjia Marines on La République du Cameroon installations in Galim. Galim, their governor has since come out to lament and even to attest to the fact that to the fact that our boys are well equipped, very, very well equipped. So tell us, what have you heard within the last few days?
Thank you, Secretary Chris, for having me on board. We have said this times and times again that every drop of blood that La République du Cameroon have dropped in Amazonia will be accounted for. We have given numerous warning to the neighboring police post, gendarmerie post, military posts of La République du Cameroon that their incursion into Amazonia will have a price to pay. Last Friday, that was Thursday night, breaking Friday, La République du Cameroon terrorists from Galim came into Amazonia and arrested 3 civilians and took them to Galim. Our forces were alerted and General Nopiti led a mission to rescue the 3 civilians. That mission was very successful. It was very swift. As you all know, we are ready for the battle and our soldiers are well trained to withstand the ill-trained forces of neighboring La République du Cameroon. It was a very, very swift and easy attack from our forces and many weapons. I know last time they were talking of 9 weapons that were seized, but I want to assure you and I want to assure the people of Amazonia and of course the world that enough weapons and ammunition were seized from these ill-trained murderers.
All right, please pause a second. I'd like you to pause a second. Let me show the people of Ambazonia what happened in the village of Tadum in Bui. Today, I understand that French Cameroon forces invaded that village, and in the hope that General Nopiti was there and his forces, they invaded that village, and at the end of the day, they had to retreat. Now, stay put, please. Watch.
Thank you.
Mais c'est trop. On va continuer à reculer comme ça. Mais c'est trop. On va continuer à reculer comme ça. Mais c'est trop. On va continuer à reculer comme ça.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you were watching there, I understand, took place as early as 4 a.m. As early as 4 a.m. Monday morning in the village of Tadum in Bui. A contingent of the French Cameroon Police Army BRRs had converged there in the hopes of getting General No PT. Unfortunately, of course, they were at the wrong location. No PT is nowhere to be found at that location. But even so, they met a good match. They met a good match for their money in Ambazonia Restoration Forces in that area. Comrade Lagmi, tell us what you know of this early morning attack in the village of Tadum.
Ngokutunja County and Bui County is a land of no return. When you are sent to Ngokutunja County, when you are sent to Bui County, write down your will, because we will send you back in a casket. We all know the empty threat La République du Cameroon crumbling regime always put out there after our forces give them any meaningful blow. We have seen La République du Cameroon threatening field marcher in Libya. We have seen La République du Cameroon send forces all over the place to raid our forces. But the result is always a big blow on them. The situation in Ngokutunja started Friday when No PT destroyed some of their one of their barracks and seized some of their weapons. Many of them were deleted on that incident. And La République du Cameroon, as usual, promised to send forces to Ngokutunja and Bui in order to fish out General No PT. Well, we have told them General No PT is right now in Mezam for a very special mission, and he is going to execute that mission. He is getting closer to his target, but unfortunately for La République du Cameroon terrorists, they went to Bui, particularly Tadum village, in search of General No PT. We have a contingent of well-trained forces from Bui County and Ngokutunja County who close in to bring down these criminals. And that is what they did. As we speak, there is a massive manhunt because since 4 a.m., the forces of Ngokutunja and Bui have given La République du Cameroon a very, very devastating blow. 2 ammo cow is down. Many of them have been deleted, and the rest of them who were still standing up pick up a run, and our forces are going after them. And I will bet everyone listening to me, we will pick them up, and they are going to face the consequences of their crimes of coming into Ambazonia. When you mess around with the people of Ngokutunja, the people of Bui, and of course the people of Ambazonia, we will mess around with you. The battle is on. We are advising our civilians to stay safe because we will make sure to bring these criminals to justice.
Now, tell us, we understand that 5 women were abducted by La République du Cameroon forces yesterday, who had gone to identify a corpse somewhere in the, I think you will give us a location. But tell us, do we know do we know whether these women have been released?
Not yet, Secretary Chris. That was on Sunday. 5 ladies from Bafanji village went to Ngalim to identify a corpse that was lying there, and unfortunately for these ladies, they were picked up by La République du Cameroon terrorists, and they were transferred immediately to Bafoussam. We have asked La République du Cameroon government to release these innocent civilians because in the days ahead, we are going to render justice to this very, very wicked act. Some of these ladies have children, and their children are crying for them to return, but La République du Cameroon keep violating international laws on human rights. They keep violating the laws governing warfare. We are saying to La République du Cameroon, the restoration forces of Ambazonia are ready for them. When they come to Ambazonia to fight, they should face our forces. They should leave our civilians alone. We are giving this ultimatum for La Republic of Cameroon to release these 5 women, because in the days ahead, we are going to take action to render justice to whom it is due.
Now, if I may ask, how is General No Pity doing? I've missed his calls quite a number of times to talk to him. How is he doing? How is his security?
General No Pity is always in high spirit. He's a brave fighter. He fights to protect our civilians. He fights to protect Amazonia. After that mission in Galim, he was posted immediately to Mezam. Like I said a few days back, he is closing into his targets in Mezam, and we are calling on all the forces of Mezam to be on high alert, because in the hours ahead or days ahead, something will happen. We have missed Governor, this procons of terrorists. They call him Governor Lele Bufol Lafrique in Gokutunda one time, and we promise we will get hold of him, and that is what we are trying to do, and we will definitely do that. Governor Lele Lafrique has inflicted enough pain on our people.